All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Bill Hurlbrink, Greg Bennett with you as we look live over a snowy and very, very cold Children's Mercy Park that is going to play host to a soccer match tonight. That is going to be, that's got to be a miserable place to be at later tonight. I mean,
at least you're honest.
If it wasn't for seeing one of the best footballers to ever do it in Lionel Messi, I'm not sure what the draw to go out there would be tonight.
Is Messi? I mean, honestly, is he going to show up?
Tonight? Exactly, yes. So, well, we're here to bring you an update on the weather and traffic here as we're into the 8 a.m. hour now. It's pretty much the heaviest part of the morning rush hour is people trying to get into work by 8 o'clock or 8:30 here this morning. I want to start off with traffic here first, Greg, before we jump into you, simply because we've got this semi that's called it quits in the northbound lanes of I-35 just before downtown. It's the semi right here in the middle of your screen.
Oh, man.
That one is not moving. So you see everyone's having to merge over to the right or the left-hand lanes to get around him. Plus, it's just a trouble spot, too, because you got traffic merging onto the interstate from both Southwest Trafficway and Broadway right there before that. So you're getting all this extra influx of cars onto the interstate, and that guy decided to call it quits right there. And I don't know if he's stuck because of some slick spots or if maybe the cold got to that diesel that gelled up or something.
Sure.
But, that can happen in these cold temperatures if you don't keep that fuel moving and warm. That diesel fuel will gel up on you and won't be able to work, and that truck can just get stuck out there on the interstates. That's just one of several problem spots across the city that we're going to talk to you about. But let's go to Greg first for kind of an update to the forecast today. Again, we know it's dangerously cold out today.
Right.
We know it's going to be even colder tomorrow, and the feels like temperatures are what are really striking as we look at those this morning.
I mean, that's why we keep calling it dangerously cold, right? Is where we're going with these feel like temperatures. I mean, the air temperature alone, is obviously dangerous, but when you get into those real feel temperatures, it really just takes it home for you to go, wow, okay. Trying to stay to the indoors, or if I have to be outdoors to really layer up, becomes very, very important. This is what's the play-by-play for us, really, as we go through the rest of this morning and into the early afternoon. You can see how it fades out for lunchtime here. Now, our temperatures are technically in the positive, our air temperatures, but they're going to be in the single digits yet again all day long. The daytime high today ranging from about 7 to 9 degrees. I think we'll be closer to 8 here around the metro when it's all said and done. But even as we make it to lunchtime, you saw that feel like at about negative 12. Once we hit the high temperature, which is 5 p.m. into the evening, we're anticipating around a 5 to 15, possibly even 10 to 15 mile per hour sustained wind. What that means is that we're going to have that kind of wind speed for a minimum of 5-minute increments. It blows at 10 or 15 miles per hour for 5 minutes at a time. That's a sustained wind. And with that kind of wind, your feel like temperatures are going to plummet. Between negative 10 and negative 15 degrees is anticipated for the time of the match at 7 p.m. And then we go to the overnight, it could be negative 20 degrees by the time we get done with the match.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's cold stuff. And if you're not taking the proper precautions, we just had a story this morning of somebody who just did a half-hour walk to their parents' house or their grandparents' house. And, they thought they were bundled up. They had their the gloves on. They had dress shoes on and normal socks. Come to find out, they got frostbite. I mean, that was one of our stories this morning. You can check that out on our website. So it's that kind of stuff that, if you're going to go out there to the stadium, to go to Children's Mercy, you're not going out there with just jeans and a sweatshirt on. You got to make sure that you are really layering up with especially the gloves, obviously your ears and your toes. These are all the areas that usually get frostbite first, and also the head area in general. This is where you lose the most heat off of your body. It comes from your face, your head, your skull, all that jazz.
Think about the playoff game from last year, the Miami game here in Kansas City, when the wind chills then were upwards of 20 below zero. And I just found your wind chill map. That's what it reminded me about it. This is for today as we go through the afternoon. Just look at these, like what Greg you were talking about here just a minute ago. This is noon today, but more importantly, around that match time later tonight. Oh,
there you go. Negative 14, man. Oh man.
So that is very dangerous to be out in, and we want everyone to be careful who's going out there tonight. And I know a lot of people have to work outside too, and these are some of those people. They're responding out to all these crashes we have this morning. Luckily, this one looks to be just about wrapped up, but you can see what looks like a Dodge Ram on the back of a flatbed tow truck there, involved in a crash here, southbound 635. This is going to be just before Kansas Avenue, just across the Kansas River Bridge over in KCK. Only that far right-hand lane and the exit lane to Kansas Avenue are getting by, so we're seeing delays back to about the old Indian Springs Shopping Center from this one, Greg. But that's by far not the only crash. Again, we showed you that stalled out semi right there just before the downtown loop. Looks like we've got somebody on scene there helping him out there right in front of him, so at least that hopefully we'll get that guy clear up before too long. Let's see what else we got going on. Looks like we got a multi-car crash northbound on 71 Highway just past Cleaver Boulevard. There's no cameras down there, so I can't show it to you, unfortunately. But if you're making your way from the Triangle up to downtown, you're going to run into that guy right there. Elsewhere, there's also just several other crashes. And so far, what I've noticed, Greg, this morning is a lot of these are being caused, or at least seeming to be caused, by drivers just hitting little areas of packed snow or ice out on the shoulder areas. You can see here, this is 435 at 350 Highway. If you're coming out of Raytown this morning, you try to make the merge maybe from the right to the left lane there. Well, you got to go through that pile of snow, and maybe a lot of people will see that. They'll hit it and automatically become sideways out on the roads with their vehicles. And I think that's a lot of the problems that we've seen today, is just those type of little slide-off crashes, those quick little things where people can find themselves backwards or sideways on the interstate. And again, not a good position to be in when you got other traffic out there coming your way at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour here.
Well, yeah, it looks good on those roadways. I mean, we're seeing blacktop. It's there. So you think, oh, all right, I've got more confidence. We can get those speeds up. We can get going. And you start to lose that, well, maybe I should be a bit more cautious in certain spots. And just like you mentioned, Bill, it's right there where the transition is from blacktop to a little bit of snowfall that's still on those roads. And underneath that snow are some slick spots. We've got ice that we've still got to watch out for. And if you just lose that little bit of concentration because you feel rather confident that you're just driving down the road on what seems to be, drier conditions, you can get yourself into a serious situation.
Yeah, and I think the message here is we're not telling you not to go out.
No, not at all.
People need to get out and about. If you got to get errands run, if you got to get kids somewhere or whatever, if there's some activity that hasn't already been canceled, we just want you to be safe and be aware of where those tricky spots are. So we realize that people have responsibilities and things to take care of, and this is not the day that you have to necessarily stay off the roads. I mean, they're going to still be crews out there treating and trying to clear them off as best as they can, especially in some of those primary, secondary roads in the cities. Hopefully some of those crews will be able to get into some of your neighborhoods a little bit later today. But we realize people have to get out and about and to get some stuff done or go to work or whatever it is. So just want you to be careful out there and not be in a hurry, especially on some of those pinch points and lane merges, whether that's on or off the highway or changing lanes or something like that. Or like Samantha Boring was telling us in the weather tracker this morning, a lot of those turns, people weren't able to get traction. Sometimes in rear-wheel drive vehicles, those front wheels won't want to cut into the snow. And you'll find yourself, even with the steering wheel cranked all the way to the left or right, you're still going to be going straight forward.
Yep, that's a true story. Story. And this goes with what KCTV5 is all about and First Warn, right? We talk about how if the weather is going to really affect you in a way that is going to slow you down a little bit, it's going to change what you're wearing, it's going to change your plans or postpone or cancel certain things, we wanted to warn you about it. That's exactly what we did, and we're going to continue to do so as we move forward through these frigid conditions.
Exactly.
Man, oh man, Bill, look at that.
Look at this slow stuff here. There's no crashes in front of these drivers. This is just southbound I-35 traffic just jammed up.
Wow.
Just before the Bond Bridge. I'm looking south of here down near the Paseo. Doesn't seem to be anything going on. I think we're just seeing a bunch of slow traffic and maybe some traffic coming off of Front Street onto I-35, and that's causing that slow up. Like I said, I'm looking further south in front of these drivers and just not seeing anything. But look at them all jammed up there across the Bond Bridge.
Holy smokes.
Just kind of sitting there. But, I mean, that gives you a good example of what kind of the roads look like. Look in those northbound lanes. That's traffic going ahead of us. You can see pretty good pavement there. In the southbound lanes, though, maybe 1 to 2 good lanes of traffic, but that far right-hand lane
I can see that.
on the far left-hand side of your screen there looks like maybe it's had 1 or 2 passes with the snow plow, but there's still plenty of snowpack down there, and that could be, again, very slick spot.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We're seeing that on a lot of different interstates here, where they're getting 3/4 of it kind of clean and clear, and then you're left probably with 1 lane or a little bit of that snow pushing off of the sides there in general. Yeah. I mean, here we go. This is a perfect example. We're looking pretty good on these highways trying to get on. Even the on-ramp there is looking pretty good.
Yeah, so that's Southwest Trafficway there, and people coming off that. So that's looking pretty good. This is just a little bit south of where that semi called it quits there just before downtown. So good news is it looks like there's only a little bit of a backup as soon as you get right up on that semi, or they might have even been able to push him off to the side of the road already. Let's go ahead and just jump up there and give it a look-see real quick because we can. Nope, he's still sitting right there.
Yeah.
But he's heavy. It looks like maybe a heavy wrecker in front of him, so hopefully we'll be able to tow him pretty soon. Plus, we got like an unmarked police car there right behind him, so that's going to help split that traffic and get him around there too much. So, well, Greg, let's go back to our forecast here a little bit. I want to bring up the 7-day because I know we've been talking a lot about these dangerously cold conditions, which is well warranted because it will be dangerously cold both today and especially tomorrow morning. I think all eyes have been on Thursday morning since the weekend, maybe even before last weekend, knowing that that's when that really influx of very cold air was going to be in here. But just look at the far right-hand side of your screen right now. Let's rejoice a little bit. You know, God's little blessings, they show up every once in a while, and I think that is one big one next Tuesday.
Man, that is T-shirt weather if I hadn't seen it before. After dealing with all of this nonsense, 59 degrees is what we're anticipating Monday, Tuesday coming in at 60. Again, these are looking to be official high temperatures. We predict that for the airport, the international airport. So if you're downtown, add another 3 degrees. I mean, so you're talking 63 is looking to be your high temperature. If you're down to the south around maybe like Lee Summit or Overland Park or Olathe, I mean, you could add another 1 or 2 more degrees on top of that. Could be in the mid-60s for you for Tuesday afternoon. So what's happening is, obviously, right now, the first 3 days, we're dealing with a combination of 2 things. Upper level jet stream from the Arctic Circle is taking a deep dive down through the Central Plains. But with that, underneath of it is a big old area of high pressure that's centered right around the Canadian border and the U.S. border. Both of those working in tandem to just pull massive amounts of cold air out from northern Canada. So that's what we're dealing with now. All of that shoves east. And what takes its place is a nice, lovely ridge of warm air that the desert Southwest has been dealing with. We're going to have a fair share of that pulls through fast as we make it past our weekend into next week. And I got to tell you, Bill, moving into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all of this looks like we're talking at least upper 40s, lower 50s.
Come on.
So I think the coldest part I've got in the forecast right now is next Thursday, which, again, is far, far out. We're going to see some alterations. But the coldest looks to be 41, 42 degrees.
It's going to
not bad.
Can you imagine? I mean, tomorrow morning, 10 below 0.
Yeah.
And then a 50-degree difference because you got to add those 10 degrees before you get to 0,
That's
right?
right.
And everything back up. So before we get to the weekend. So it's just crazy how much the weather can shift so dramatically in such a short amount of time here. Sometime here, especially with extremes like this.
Oh, yeah.
With an extreme cold to a not too bad temperature. You know what? Let's go ahead and go back to the scout camera because we're seeing a little bit of action over here with them finally able to clear that semi. I can't tell if he's
dragging it.
I think he's being towed there.
Yeah, I think he's being towed.
So hopefully they're going to get him out of the way there, and we're going to get everybody else up the hill into downtown. I guess that's probably one of the frustrating parts about the city being on a hill. You got a couple of pretty tough roads to get into town.
Yeah.
This is another spot where I see a lot of drivers get stuck. It's eastbound 670. You have to kind of go up that hill there to get into the south side of the downtown loop. But luckily, it looks like everybody is moving just about close to at speed here coming in from the Kansas side this morning. I know back west of this, there was a crash earlier. I'll go ahead and just check back there. No, it looks like they've cleared that one up, so that's good. The biggest ones I want you to know about, though, are that one there's southbound on 635, just past I-70, and it looks like that is going to be the biggest, and northbound 71 highway past Cleaver Boulevard. Those two are kind of the biggest problem spots that we're seeing around town right now. If you're getting maybe the later start here or the kind of the delayed start this morning here on your morning rush hour. Now that is 8:17 in the morning, but yeah, I think that's the tail of the tape right there. Cold.
Yeah.
but then a nice little warm up into the weekend.
You know, just have some chili.
Have some chili.
Have some chili today.
Get it ready to go.
Man,
All right.
my wife made a great chili yesterday. It was perfect. It was perfect for the day. I'm going to have some more of that.
Do we need to have Erica's secret chili recipe?
You know, there's somebody that has been dying for her enchilada recipe, and I still haven't gotten it up. It's not happening, man. It's not happening.
All right. Well, think about all the warm food that you can. We're going to go down and update KCTV5 on air coming in here in the next few minutes. Again, if you are headed out here tonight, please, please, please stay safe, stay warm, take care of yourselves, take care of other people around you. Again, we still have the cold air on the way tomorrow morning, but relief is on the way by the weekend. Please join us over on air and online coming up here in the next about 7 minutes. We'll be on KCTV5, and then make sure you join us for your news at noon with more updates here as we go through this first warm weather day here at KCTV5. For Greg Bennett, I'm Bill Hurlbrink. Have a great rest of your day. Stay warm and stay safe.